You are now listening to the Mythic Rare podcast with your host, Graham Pollard and the Icon Willy B.
Welcome back to the Mythic Rare podcast. We're back after a long holiday break, Willy B. It was a crazy week of travel for me. I had to go to Massachusetts like 3 times because the holidays and then like some other things. And I'm going to California this week, so wild week of travel. But there's always time to fit in Magic the Gathering talk, because that's what people care about. More importantly than that, though, I just learned, this is some breaking news before the podcast, 5 minutes ago, that Willy B just applied to be on The Bachelor.
Yes, so Mr. Pollard, once again, so great to be back with you. I'm so thrilled that we could finally find some time in our busy schedules to be back. Same thing, I'm currently in an office on the road trying to find time to squeeze us in, but anything for the podcast, anything for the Mythic Rare podcast, what a time.
Willy B is doing this in a summer camp office right now. If that's not dedication to the game, I don't know what is, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting here alone in a summer camp, which, speaking of, like, that's where, like, you've seen all the scary movies. Summer camps breed serial 100%. Killers. So, like, me sitting in this office by myself with this headset on to where
if someone walks by, that's a bad look. Yeah, as someone that's been to summer camps, the summer camp office has never been to your summer camp, but traditionally never a nice place to be, really.
Yeah, honestly, and then I'm like right next to the dining hall, so then that's also kind of sketchy. Like, everything's dark around me, but you know what? It's for the grind. It's for the game. And yes, as Graham had mentioned, I had actually recently just applied for the Bachelor/Bachelorette. I guess it's all one application.
You'd probably have to be on the Bachelorette, though.
Yeah, that's probably
because they don't just take a random guy off the street and make him like the Bachelor.
Yeah, which makes sense. So like I had technically applied for the Bachelorette, and the reason being is because for the first time in my entire life, which yes, I know sounds crazy, first time in my entire life, I watched The Bachelor. It was like some big season premiere. Some of my buddies were watching it, so I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll come watch it with you guys. And so we were watching it, and I was just disgusted by just how cringy and how like basic all the same answers are. It's just everything's the exact same. So I said they needed some spice, they needed some flair, and I even put in my application like, first of all, I want to show that, like, because it was like, oh, well, about finding love. Well, first of all, like a common dude, nothing spectacular. Because if you watch it, dude, I mean, it's just like these beautiful women with all these extravagant dresses going after this pilot.
I know what you're about to do right now, Willy B. You do not sell yourself short on the average looking card. I don't want you to be playing that on me.
No. It's not the average looking, but it's the fact that I don't have to dress up in these fancy clothes. My type of thing is I'm going to show up in my jorts, bro. I'm telling you, I'm going to pull out of that limo, handmade, cut jorts, wearing the chacos. I'm going to be out there just wearing what normal people wear on the daily. Not everybody dresses up for every single event. And if you do, I am sorry for you. Like, nobody should have to dress up in a suit and tie unless they choose to intentionally dress up in a suit and tie.
Willy B is the type of guy that will wear shorts and chacos when it's 15 degrees out and a foot of snow on the ground. So, like, I would also say there's extremes on the Willy B side of the dress code as well.
There's definitely an extreme. There was actually a picture of me. I went road tripping to Colorado a couple months back with me eating ice cream, standing in the snow with my chacos on and wearing shorts, but not the point. So anyways, yes, I applied for the Bachelorette, even put like at the end though, I said, the show's getting stale. You need some fire, you need some passion, you need somebody that is just, I told them that I could be the greatest star that has ever come through the show to boost the rating.
That is 100% true. I mean, there's never they're not going to put you on because you probably have to submit a picture. No, I'm just kidding. But if they did put you on, I mean, you would be the biggest star in Bachelor history. There's no doubt in my mind about that whatsoever. Like, it's just a shame. You just got to get your opportunity. But really what we need is a Magic the Gathering Bachelor.
Well, okay, so that's where I was about to go, though.
Oh, well played.
The Bachelorette last year, so I don't know if you guys really remember. So last year, if you guys watched the show, Hannah Brown was like the lead person or whatever, and the guy that she had picked, his name was Jed.
Oh, Jed.
Oh, wait.
Don't get me started on Jed.
No.
God.
So she picked Jed. Nobody really wanted her to pick Jed. But then what came out afterwards is that Jed was actually in a relationship the entire time. He went on the show to boost his music career. So you know what I would do? I would go on the show and I would just throw subtle hints about Magic. I'll get the rest of the boys playing Magic in the house. We got downtime. Yeah. Hey, guys, let's play some Magic. And little would they know, I'm actually planting the seeds, showing that it is cool to be playing Magic the Gathering, to get more viewers, to get more players into the game. So ultimately, not only would I be the greatest star in the Bachelorette history, I would be bringing in millions of viewers into the Magic world. I would be able to open the realm to so many different people to increase the population of players in this game in order to make it reach that next level growth that we've talked about.
You were kind of like the anti-Jed, though. Like, Jed is kind of a huge scumbag. You are like the least scumbag person I've ever met in my life. But at the same time, I really appreciate what you're doing to elevate the game, elevate the platform. I think the guys, I mean, honestly, they can have phones in the Magic, not the Magic house, in the Bachelor mansion. They can't have phones, and like, there might be TV, I don't know, but probably not. So they're not really doing anything all day except like lifting weights and tanning. And Magic is literally the perfect solution that fits a niche opportunity in the Bachelor house. So great idea.
And that's what I'm saying. And, you know, unlike Jed, if I were to somehow make it all the way to the end and be selected, I'd be like, hey, pick the other guy. He actually loves you. Play Magic the Gathering. And then, you know.
You're in love with your cardboard squares and nothing else, and grinding on the ladder.
Exactly.
Getting that Mythic championship.
Climbing up in ranked, ready for that Mythic championship.
See, what I was thinking is more of a traditional Bachelor style, but with only people involved in the Magic community. So, for example, the Bachelor could be like, well, Javier Dominguez has a girlfriend, but the Bachelor could be, I don't know, like Stanislav Sifka. I have no idea if he's in a relationship or not. Let's pretend he's single. And then you get, 16 fine ladies from the Bachelorette universe, or vice versa. It could be a female star, of course, with like 16 dudes. And then, the rose ceremony, it could come down to like she could be choosing between two people. And instead of making her choose, it could be Magic the Gathering, best of 3 match, duking it out for pride and for the lady's heart. How about that, Willy B?
I absolutely love that. I think that would be phenomenal. I think these are all great ideas. I think as much as people hate it, sports are entertainment. They need that they need that drama aspect. And, you see it all the time. Oh, it's becoming too much, especially with I don't know if any of you guys follow the mixed martial arts world. Oh, it's becoming too much of the WWE. That's what it was founded on, first of all. You need that aspect. You need that drama. You need that it factor. And yes, you might have to, quote unquote, sell some of your pride in order to reach that destiny. But if your greatest goal is to see the best for the game, the best for the game is having the most players and allowing for Magic to touch the lives of everybody, just like it has touched our lives and impacted our lives and brought fulfillment into our lives in the darkest of days.
I love how no matter what conversation topic we start on, we always end up going down the WWE route. Someone brings it up every episode. It's inevitable. We got it out of the way 8 minutes in this time, though, so that's not bad. But speaking of drama, I smoked DJ Kid Infinite from the Aetherhub Discord in a 1v1 match the other night. Oh, what a evisceration. Game 2, he might have won, but we don't need to talk about that. Game 1, though. Oh,
Game 1 is all we need to talk
thunder, about. Baby. I was playing my Esper stacks with the Niv Mizzet 5-color Reborn version. I've talked about that deck before, so you're going to have to go back in the archives if you want the in-depth analysis of how it works. Pure domination. I felt like a freaking god out there. And then Game 2, we don't need to talk about Game 2. But we'll get a rubber match in. But I'm a big DJ Kid Infinite guy from the Aether. If you're not in the Aether Discord, definitely hop on, and you'll know DJ Kid Infinite right away, that's for sure. But I'm a big fan. He's a big fan of the show, too. So we're going to have to get him on soon. But and then Willy B and I have been duking it out all week, obviously. So ever since the friends list has come out.
Honestly, it's been a blast. It's been relatively even too. I'd probably say 55-45 you. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a lot for me to swallow my pride and admit that Graham has been beating me, but it's been a pretty fair, even match. It's a great time. We each, and same thing, there'll be some games where we might kind of throw because we're just trying out different decks and whatnot. But like that's what brings the enjoyment. I mean, just that constant factor of just trying to find the new deck list.
The friends list is great, honestly. I wish you could chat in it, but I do like that you can like send a challenge and the little notification thing pops up, and then like if someone's in the middle of their game, you can just whatever. The challenge like invite doesn't time out as far as I know. I'm sure it times out eventually, but like for 10, 20 minutes or whatever, the invite will still be there as long as the other person's in it. So that's a big improvement to the game. That's still not out on Mac though, which is a little frustrating for our Mac users like Willy B. To do some illegal crap to get the game going. No, not really, but
yeah, exactly. It's just a pain because as a Mac user, either I borrow people's computers and I'll grind on that, which is just kind of a nuance to everybody because nobody wants to give up their computer. Or I mean, I've also like there's a way that you can download it onto your Mac, but then like whenever there's an update, you then have to like re-download the entire thing, and it's just so janky and messed up, and it's just like kind of annoying because you're just like, bro, like I'm just trying to grind some Magic, please just let me grind some Magic. But you know what, like I said, I'll do anything for Magic. I'll try and play it whenever I can and get
even play. I mean, you got access to PCs, so
yeah, exactly, so
desktop or whatever.
So it's not that big of a deal. It's just the fact that it's just not as convenient for me myself.
Yeah. So our fearless leader Andre got eviscerated on Reddit the other day. Second time I've used eviscerated in this podcast. I'm proud of myself for that in the correct context too. But Andre, I love Andre obviously, and but he took a beating the other day. Wow. And I think the good thing about Andre, one of the things I respect the most about him is that I don't think he really cares. I think he knows that in like anything that gets people talking is probably a good thing to promote. Aetherhub, but basically we got a release card, like a spoiler card for Aetherhub. It's called Fateful End. It's deal 3 damage to any target. Scry 1 for 3 mana. I think it's 1 red, 2 colorless. So it's a playable limited card. Not like the most exciting spoiler ever though by any means. But I loved what he did. It was the ultimate troll move, and the ultimate kept people hanging in the last bit, but he revealed it bit by bit over like 10 hours, and oh my god, did people not like that.
Yeah.
I appreciated it though. I enjoyed refreshing the page for every hour, see the new part of the card get revealed. Yeah. It was exciting. It's like everyone's likes those, how Netflix now a whole season gets released at once. Back in the old days you had to wait 2 months to watch your whole TV show.
Oh man, you're telling me that's how it is on the anime grind, bro. Like, I'm telling you, man. Like,
how's the anime grind going?
Oh, the anime grind has been unbelievable. I've had to slow down, because same thing. I've been working funky hours, and obviously, while working at a camp, it's just like hard to find proper Wi-Fi. Like, to put it in perspective, there was one night I was trying to play my PS4, and my ping was 180, I believe, which is absolutely god awful. There was another night it was 300. Like that is horrible ping. For those of you that don't like fully follow.
What's the prime time ping, or what's what you're going for?
Honestly, anything under 40 is like playable. Is like solid play.
Okay. So lower the better.
Yeah. So you want low ping. Obviously 0 is like what you want, but if you're using like
obviously.
If you're using like house Wi-Fi and like really bad Wi-Fi that you don't have set up, like you're never gonna catch 0 ping.
The summer camp. There's no place in the world or no like type of institution in the world that's gonna have on average worse Wi-Fi than a summer camp.
Yeah.
Like maybe a prison, but I feel like a prison's probably got pretty good Wi-Fi. So I retract that statement.
I will say though, there are a couple times where I'll bring my PlayStation and my console and move it into the kitchen because the kitchen is immediately right next to the office. So I'll just set up a couple TVs in there. That's what I did. That's how I spent my.
You're such a fiend.
That's how I spent my New Year's Eve. That's how I spent my New Year's Eve. Down 3 bottles of sparkling grape juice. Played the living daylights out of some Apex Legends. Yes, I'm still in the Apex Legends grind. Not gonna lie. Great game, by the way. I really enjoyed it. I got to give a shout out to my girl, Macon. She brought me back on the grind, bro. Like, she was telling me, like, she's like, bro, like, dude, that game's still fun. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll give it a try again. And man, I've been having a blast. Not even gonna lie, but
Yeah, I could never get into it, to be honest.
it's
I never really got into Fortnite either, though, like super hard compared to other people. So there's like battle royale games. I was also bad at it, so that contributes.
so I've enjoyed my time in Apex because they have a ranked system. So I play ranked play, and so like it's the grind that is needed. It's why I enjoy playing Magic so much as well too.
Yeah,
That ranked
yeah,
system.
there's a Mythic Championship qualifier weekend this weekend too, which apparently instead of being a 2-day affair, it's now a 1-day affair.
Oof.
And you need to go 10. I don't like that move. A lot of people don't seem to like that move too. But to be honest, like with the holidays and everything, I like haven't heard of any. I haven't been keeping track of the meta. I feel like a lot of people are kind of in the same boat. Like I was wicked into the meta game before the last Mythic Championship, but now that like for me, because I didn't qualify. I'm like, I've just been playing for fun, like with my friends and just doing janky stuff and whatever. I haven't really been grinding it out on the ladder as much as I do normally. So I'm not like, but it seems like everyone is just playing the same type of decks. It seems like there's nothing crazy new and innovative that I know of yet that's come out there. But still, like the big takeaway is just doing it in 1 day. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know. 1 day is just like it's just a no. Like it feels rushed.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is an experiment because
Yeah.
it's not like a major like this Mythic Championship qualifier weekend is big for everyone playing in it, but it's kind of like it's not a dead time in Magic because we've got all the spoilers, which we're gonna get to, but it's kind of a dead time in like the old Throne of Eldraine Magic a little bit because it's the end of the cycle and that's what always happens.
Yeah.
So I feel like there hasn't been quite as much buzz surrounding this. So maybe they're just like taking this opportunity to, test something new. Kind of like how like the NIT will test different rules because no one really cares about that basketball tournament when March Madness is going on.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's kind of a similar thing. But I don't know. If they keep doing the one, I've heard nothing really but negative feedback about it. So I'm sure they'll change it back. I'm hoping at least.
Yeah. I mean, my answer is the more Magic, the more merrier,
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And, a 2-day tournament is just more exciting.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that, sometimes dedicating a whole weekend to a Magic tournament when there's potential to get, like, nothing out of it is kind of frustrating for some, or not frustrating, can be, like, logistically difficult for some people. But you got to do what you got to do. I mean, you got to stay loyal to the Magic grind. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It's just one of those like, it's so tough because I kind of see where they're coming from. Like, it's just the qualifiers. Like, might as well just rush it. Nobody really cares about them anyways. We're not getting the viewer. Maybe it's like they're not getting viewership. Maybe in order to land some of their sponsorships, they want a more like quicker segments and like. I don't know exactly all the logistical details.
I don't think like Magic themselves is like doing a stream. I think they're just gonna like host people that are streaming.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's kind of how they did that one. What was it?
The Twitch Rivals. Yeah.
Yeah, the Twitch Rivals. Okay. Which honestly, I think I prefer that way of filming it because, like we said before, like then you get personable with them.
Yeah.
Which is just
and like no one has to stream it too because it's just like anyone can play. But like I'm assuming that the Magic like official Twitter is going to be hosting people that are streaming the MCQW. It just seems like the logical move, but they've proven me wrong before about following logic. But anyways, I am like really excited for Theros, so I think it's going to be sweet. We'll get there. We'll get to the cards in a little bit though, but really looking forward to that. But more so, I'm looking forward to seeing all the Team Aether members get to stream on the pre-release. That's going to be pretty cool. I've started to enjoy watching the streams from some of the Team Aether guys. It's a great community to get involved with, for sure. And just like, it's everyone supports each other. My guy Killadub out there giving people raids after all the streams. My guy Steve from MTG Arena Meta, always a great stream to watch. My guy Titans fan, actually, I just heard he's doing his first ever stream for the pre-release tournament. So that's pretty cool, man. It's a good community to be a part of if you're not already. Definitely get involved in the Aetherhub world.
Yeah, I think like the one thing that I've enjoyed about Aetherhub is the fact that like the thing is there's so many times where people are just negative and toxic, especially in so many different games. Like,
Or
you
in the
know,
Magic Reddit too, which
yeah,
you do not really get in the Aetherhub. Not that I care about the toxicity in the Magic Reddit, I kind of enjoy it actually, but oh dude, I had the funniest negative comment on my Esper Stacks article from somebody. I was doing an article about Esper Stacks, and I took like the Esper Stacks deck that I don't know, I just kind of picked some random one, but it was like basically the most standard Esper Stacks deck you could possibly find, like pretty quid pro quo. That's not the right. Pretty status quo.
yeah.
And then some guy in the comments was like, "This is clickbait. This is totally Esper control, noob." And I was like, "Okay, it's not." But if you're gonna complain, I don't know. I don't care. I want you to complain. Actually, the more comments you get, the better, regardless of if they're negative or positive, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those. It's something about the controversy that's so beautiful at times. I don't know, but I do like Aetherhub because it's a welcoming community where everybody does root for the best of everybody, which is what everybody at times need. Like, obviously, for me personally, I was laughing about this because I was actually playing basketball with my boss last night, and
Did you win?
We ended up being on the same team,
Oh.
and there were times she's like, "Man, like you're just not finishing like you used to," and I was like, "Yeah, because I got nobody to talk trash to me, man. I got no."
You gotta get angry.
And so we were laughing because we were just warming up before the next game, like everybody was getting their water. And he was just literally slapping the crap out of me. And I was making every shot. And he was like, "See, look, that's all you need."
Electric.
And so it's one of those, like, sometimes you need a little bit of that negative feedback just to.
Kind of like me at work, honestly.
Prove your worth, yeah.
Yeah, I don't work at a physical job at all. I sit at my ass on a computer all day, being a lazy piece of crap. But I've really started motivating myself by just viewing everyone as an enemy and just trying to crush the competition, even though like I'm really good friends with everybody. But still, gotta get angry sometimes. You gotta force yourself to get angry.
Well,
to
honestly,
the productive juice, get that adrenaline flowing, get that productive juices flowing.
Well, that's how I am, honestly. There's so many times where I'm a very friendly person. I really enjoy a lot of people, but then sometimes I'll rant about them and their work ethic, and then it motivates me to do better. Because like as I'm ranting about them, I gotta make sure I don't fall into that. That way I'm not a hypocrite, bro. And so like I find like these other things. And,
I like the use of the word bro right there.
Yeah, man. You know how it be. I've honestly been using bro so much.
Yeah, working a summer camp will get you into the bro. It will get you into some really bad lingo.
Bro, dude.
Society. My summer camp had its own like lexicon, and I would always catch myself like saying some words, some summer camp words when you leave summer camp, and no one knows what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
One of the things you got to keep an eye out if you're in the summer camp life, like Willy B.
My favorite one that I've gotten all my buddies onto, and they're all complaining, they're all laughing, like, "Oh God, we've been spending way too much time with Willy B." I've got them saying F in the chat all the time. That's an F in the chat, boys. Like. Just different things like
that. What's the context that you?
So it's when F in the chat comes from, I don't remember exactly which Call of Duty, but back when it was on like PS or the PC, and you were at a funeral, and it said press F to pay your respects, and so it's like whenever something bad happens, you're just like, that's an F in the chat, bro.
Oh.
And so it's like
break that out at work.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a usage. I mean, I use it all the time. So it's like you drop your phone. Oh, that's an F in the chat, bro. Like, or a big F in the chat. Or like, a classic one is like, dude, she has a boyfriend. Oh, that's an F in the chat.
Yeah, such a capital F in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like
bold, higher font size. Yep.
that's when you would use an F in the term. That's an F in the chat.
All right. That's good to know. So my gambling article got a ton of feedback, on people did not that they didn't like the article, because I wasn't trying to put an article saying that Magic should embrace gambling. I kind of want to pose the question to the community to see. I think it's interesting, right? Esports gambling is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. I think predicted in 2020 is something like $10 to $20 billion in wagers is what they expect on esports. So I posed the question, should Magic try to distance themselves from the esports gambling world, or should they try to get kind of ahead of the curve and embrace the gambling in the esports world. Because if you think about it, like Magic is compared to poker a lot of ways in terms of like gameplay and strategy wise, and kind of like the whole aspect of reading your opponent, sometimes calling their bluffs, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, everyone's heard that a million. And a lot of the pro players of Magic, like Javier Dominguez, for example, came from poker backgrounds, people that are converted poker players over to Magic. But one big, obvious, fundamental difference between the two is that poker is a wager gambling-based game. That's just crucial, integral to the part of the gameplay at a high level for poker. And Magic is the exact opposite. Magic has taken a very hardline, anti-gambling approach ever really since its existence for a lot of reasons. But like public sentiment on gambling is changing, I think, especially with sports betting in particular. And people are becoming a lot more open to the idea of gambling. I think gambling is becoming very widely accepted in the United States at the very least. I can't speak to Europe, but it's been legal in Europe for longer, so I'd assume it's at least relatively widely accepted. But it seemed like, and I'm going to go because it was pretty unanimous, I don't think I heard one single person say that they think Magic should start embracing a gambling element in whatever form that would take.
Well, and like the interesting thing is like the way that some of these comments are labeled is it's almost like they're.
I think some people didn't quite understand what I was getting
I don't
at.
think it doesn't necessarily seem like gambling as in like they're taking it from like a sports/entertainment perspective of gambling. It like one of these worlds, it's like selling like randomized card packs would already be like, and they're talking about all this other stuff and like
I saw those comments. Yeah,
and I get it that they don't necessarily want like I guess like what they're saying is they don't want like is that Magic's like already selling like all these different collection sets and whatnot, trying to find money, and that by them allowing gambling would just be a cash grab. But in reality, I feel like it would boost the whole point of the gambling is not necessarily to alter the gameplay, it's to boost the viewership. And I feel like that might have been the part that was lost in translation, which is okay, I guess. But like that's how, at least how I view gambling is. At the end of the day, people will tune into blowouts. People will tune into different things because they have money on the line.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm a total degenerate sports gambler. That's why kind of I wrote the article. But like if I'm just chilling on Saturday morning, I'll put on like women's college soccer if I can gamble on it for all I care. Like there's no reason I'd ever watch that if I didn't have like $10 on the line.
I got into esports via gambling. Like I remember there was a couple League of Legends matches I gambled on, Dota 2 matches, Overwatch matches that I gambled on, and then I was like, wait, I can watch these too? And so then I would start watching them, and then I would start listening to the commentators. That way I could know for future reference of like which teams should I actually trust. And you go on Twitter, you figure out, should I actually like trust this line? Because the thing is like the odds aren't necessarily what they really should be. It's just wherever the money's going. Like,
right.
So there could be one team where, yeah, they're good, but like a lot of people think that they're better than they are. And because they have so much hype around them, the odds will be ridiculously overstacked. And so,
inflate the line.
Yeah, this is an easy, like, bet the under. So, like, bet on the underdog.
Right.
So I think like that is something that could help.
Yeah, and one thing I will definitely concede is the legality aspect of it, because one thing I actually didn't know when I wrote the article was that Magic tournaments are banned in Germany because of gambling, allegedly, even though like I wouldn't consider a Magic tournament gambling whatsoever, but they're banned in Germany because of that. And being a worldwide game, I'm like not even going to pretend to know the gambling legalities across the entire world. But in the United States, the restrictions are becoming much less significant ever since the Supreme Court lifted a ban on sports betting in 2018. So that makes it, the Supreme Court lifting that ban makes things significantly easier in the United States. And like the gambling laws have always been like very easy to manipulate. Example, DraftKings and FanDuel. Maybe the best business model of all time, but also the sleaziest business model of all time, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Because apparently they qualified that as a game of skill, which made it legal. Meanwhile, they were taking 20% juice instead of 10, like every other sports book, with no risk. But like, whatever. That's a topic for a different day. I don't think daily fantasy is any less of gambling than any other gambling.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like that became legal because they were able to interpret the law in a certain way that benefited them. And I think like if Magic really dedicated the resources, they could definitely find a way to incorporate some sort of form of legal gambling, whether that's like exclusively in a casino, and that would be maybe like a one-off casino, whether that's putting wager matches on Arena, like $25 buy-in tournaments or whatever. That could be more difficult. Legally, I guess that's still not the word I was looking for, but that could be more difficult. But I don't know. It seemed like the general consensus was everyone was opposed, and people said they would stop playing. And pretty harshly said they would stop playing immediately if Magic became a gambling sport. So sometimes you just got to listen to the masses. And but it was an interesting. I really enjoyed reading the feedback on that article. I thought it was really interesting and a little unexpected for me.
Yeah. No, it's one of those, but that's the thing, like, especially with the topic like gambling, I mean, that's something that never always went over easy with people. So it could change as generations change, or even just take a couple of years to warm up. Like, who would have thought that, 5 years ago, gambling would have been legalized all across the country and be
one like concern that I have is that like Hearthstone or one of these other card games is going to really embrace a wagering element before Magic, and that's going to, if they do it successfully, propel another card game ahead of Magic.
Yeah.
That might not happen. I could be totally wrong, but I don't know. It's something that.
And same thing, it's still got to be we still have to put out an entertaining product, and
yeah,
it's not the fact that like we think Magic is some unentertaining product. It's just the fact that this could help boost the viewership that we've talked about for a while. Like, it's just something that could help make it better.
Yeah. All right. Should we get to the big topic of the day, will it be? And that is these Theros spoilers, which are coming in hot and heavy. And I've already seen 2 new ones since we started recording this podcast. That's how quickly they're coming out. Yeah. Do you want to start with? Let's start with a card that I think is kind of not getting as much buzz as it deserves, and that is Bronzehide Lion. You can read that one if you want, or I can. I got it pulled up right now.
Yeah, I've got it as well too. And so Bronzehide Lion gains indestructible until end of the turn. Oh, by the way, yeah. So it uses 1 green, 1 land, 1
green, 1 white.
Yeah, 1 green, 1 white. Whichever way you would prefer to say it. The same thing. My brightness is all out of jank. And so I like keeping a low brightness on my phone. Anyways, that's not the point. So gains indestructible until the end of the turn. When Bronzehide Lion dies, return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with enchant creature you control, and enchanted creatures gains indestructible until end of turn, and it loses all the other abilities.
Yep. So
3/3 as well too.
Yeah. So 3/3 for 2 mana is already pretty high, well statted as it is. It's in green white, which I haven't seen incredible support for yet with Theros, but there is a green white planeswalker for 4 mana that I'm slightly underwhelmed with, but a 2 mana 3/3 that can become indestructible I think is more relevant than people think in the right deck. Especially with some of the other equipment and attachments that we've seen. Like I think equipment decks with all that glitters is a card from Eldraine that gives the creature +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment they control. And I think that card is going to be a pretty freaking good card in Theros with all these enchantment creatures that we've seen. In the right deck, that card is already sneakily good. But one of the big issues with enchantments, obviously, is that if you play them on a creature and then your opponent kills the creature, then they get 2 for 1 value by basically destroying 2 cards with 1 destruction. So the ability to have a card that you can give indestructible pretty easily, I would say, for just 2 mana to get it out. It's a big body. A 3/3 with all that glitters and a couple other things down can become a legit pocket presence pretty early in the game. And then when it dies, return it to the battlefield, and you can give another card in destroy. So obviously, for this to work, you need to have another creature card out there. But I don't know. I seem to like. I think this card is underrated. I think in the right deck, Bronze Line could really be an all-star for just a really good role player and supporting cast to pick it off. I wanted to start with this one, actually. Did I send you this one, Willy B? Hackdos?
Yes, I'm looking at Hackdos right now as we speak. That was actually the one that I was looking at. Hackdos, the Unscarred, uses 2 red, 2 white, and he attacks each combat if able. And then as Hackdos enters the battlefield, choose 2, 3, or 4 at random. Hackdos has protection from each converted mana cost other than the chosen member. He's also a 6/1.
Yep. So first of all, huge wasted opportunity, in my opinion, for Magic to get Brad Pitt on a card. Probably my favorite movie ever, honestly. Brad Pitt as Achilles in the movie Troy. Total god. I mean, not really a god, obviously, because Achilles isn't a god, but theoretically, not figuratively a god. Just whatever. Anyone who's seen the movie can understand why I'm a loss for words trying to describe Brad Pitt. He's that much of a legend. I went as Brad Pitt as Achilles for Halloween this year, actually. It was a horrible costume. But Hackdos is, unfortunately, he's got the long flowing hair. It's the wrong color, though. If he was blonde, all they had to do was dye the hair blonde, bleach it, and you got yourself Brad Pitt on a card. And I would find a way to work that into every single deck I made. I don't even care if the colors don't work. If Brad Pitt as Achilles in the movie Troy is going on a Magic card, I'll be playing it. But the actual card itself is pretty good, though. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dude, imagine the day that Magic gets like a famous person's face just like plastered over it. That would actually be.
I was thinking about this the other day. Like, they're pretty good at coming up with like inspiration to draw off of. Like, Eldraine was obviously fairy tales. Theros is a Greek god. One of these days, I'd like to see just like the Kardashians or something. Like, something completely ridiculous. I know they did actually a Hello Pony one, kind of like not legal cards, but I wish they made like a massive set dedicated to some like pop culture. Like, I don't know. I have no idea what that would be. Like sports teams, maybe.
Yeah.
People in the Magic community would probably freaking hate that, to be honest. But I would think it would be funny. It made like Kim Kardashian into a planeswalker.
Golly,
God,
imagine.
Kardashians are so annoying. Sorry to any Kardashian fans out there.
They're honestly the worst.
Black China buys $600. She's not a Kardashian, but Black China buys $600 worth of alcohol a day and is fighting a custody battle because she says that she's a good mom with her kid. And it's like over with Rob Kardashian, by the way. And their daughter's name is like Legend, or it's not Legend, it's Dream, or I think.
I couldn't even tell you.
I don't know. I was just seeing that today. How like Black China is like such a train wreck and is refusing to give up custody of her daughter. I mean, I understand that, but like her daughter's like 4 years old and her mom's like already doing shots with her and stuff like that.
Golly day.
Well, yeah, that was a tangent. Let's get back to revealing the spoiler cards. Yeah. Well, we can do, you want to do Nyx Bloom Ancient, or, well, you can pick whatever one you want, Willy B.
Well, I was going to say, how about we go over the Nightmare Shepherd.
Sure.
4/4, flying. Whenever another creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's 1/1 and is a nightmare in addition to its other types.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I love this card.
Yeah, I think that's super cool. I think it can throw in a whirlpool, change things up a little bit, and like, I don't know. I feel like I feel like that's going to be a card. Same thing. I mean, there's so many cards.
Yeah.
It'll take a little bit for us to figure out which cards really truly are the best ones. But like,
I think this card's going to get a ton of play. I don't know how good it's going to be. First of all, I think the fact that it's an enchantment creature is going to be more relevant than people think. But basically, it's just like, it's a way to double proc enter the battlefield effects essentially. And we've seen some other cards in the set, like the blue God Indestructible card that blinks a card every turn. So I think a Sultai Shell is where I see this the best with like Risen Reef, because Risen Reef is already a 1/1. So basically, it's just saying if your opponent kills Risen Reef is coming back as the exact same thing, and it gets to proc the enter the battlefield effect again. And then you've got Yarok as an option. Yarok is the card that whenever the ability is whenever a creature enters the battlefield, their enter the battlefield ability activates twice. So like the top end for this could be Agent of Treachery, for example. And then if you had a way to sacrifice Agent of Treachery, it would come back to the battlefield as a 1/1. You get to take another. You get to steal another permanent from your opponent. I don't know. There's just like that's what I'm thinking of on the top of my head. But there's so many like enter the battlefield effects and like crazy things you can do with this card that it just seems like it's gonna fit into a lot of different decks. Mono Black Devotion is another deck that a lot of people have said this card could be an all-star in, and I just see it being very versatile and fitting like kind of in a lot of different areas, and we'll see like if we're right or not, obviously. But a 4/4 with flying for 4 mana is pretty like respectable. Matches up similarly to some other cards that are seen to play, like Sphinx the Foresight right now. It's a 4/4 with flying. So good stats. It's certainly not a liability, that's for sure, and a really cool ability to boot. So yeah, I'm excited to build with this card. One of my favorite cards I've seen in black so far, released yet.
Yeah, and then now for the big heavy hitter is the one that you were referring to beforehand, the Nyx Bloom Ancient, which is a 7 mana, 3 being required to be green. And it has trample, and so if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. And then
so this card is bonkers.
5/5, yeah.
This is what I expect to be the first card to get banned from this set. I'm not saying it's as good as Oko, but I think this can be pretty freaking insane. I think someone will figure out a way to break this card. First of all, like a 5/5 for 7 mana is not good by any stretch of the imagination, but 5 is enough toughness where it's annoying to kill for a lot of decks. And then the fact that its ability is just so good that, like, if you really think about it, if you have a ramp deck, which is what this would obviously be built in, if you play Nissa down, people were arguing if they would tap for 4 to 6 mana per land. I think the general consensus was 4 mana per land. But, like, it's really not that hard to get Nissa into this card. And then you're tapping for 4 mana for all your forest. I mean, that's ridiculous. And then there's another card in this set, I'm blanking on the name right now, that turns all your cards into, like, a basic land of any type. So that would mean all your lands into a basic land of any type. So it would mean all of your lands would be considered a forest. So that plus that and Nissa makes... There's probably some ways to make infinite mana with this card. Another thing I thought of is the Lotus land card, where you need to sacrifice 2 other lands to be able to play it, enter the battlefield tapped, but you can tap it for 3 mana of every color. And that card is pretty popular with Kiora. That's really where I've seen that card the most, is with Kiora, because you can untap it right when it comes into play. But if you have Kiora, Lotus Field, and Nyx Bloom Ancient, tapping Lotus Field with this card gives you 9 mana. Untapping it with Kiora and then tapping it again gives you 18 mana. 18 mana.
That is insane, bro.
That is, like, ridiculous. Like, you can do so much. You can make obviously, like, some things that come to mind that fit would be Hydroid Crisis, Finale of Devastation for a 1-turn win. I feel like if you get Nyx Bloom down Ancient, or Nyx Bloom Ancient down on the battlefield, and your opponent does not have, like, an automatic answer to it, in most situations you're going to win the game. And, like, these ramp decks, it's easy to get a 7-mana card down in turn 5, turn 4 even, if you can get a turn-free Nissa down. So if you can get a turn-free Nissa into turn 4, Nyx Bloom Ancient, like, and you end up losing the game, you're doing something wrong. That's why I think this card is going to get banned. And one of the frustrating things I'm not breaking any news with this, obviously, is that everyone's complained that green was getting the best cards. And what do? They print seemingly, like, ridiculous cards this time around for green too. And it just doesn't seem like anything's going to change. And then white, which gets the least amount of support, did get one really good card with Heliod, the 3-mana god. But other than that, hasn't really got anything. I guess Haktos too, but that's more of a Boros specific because it's got a difficult mana cost. But yeah, it just seems like green is going to be the best color again, which I don't dislike green. It's just kind of getting old. And this card, unless I'm missing something, just seems absolutely ridiculous. And I can see this getting banned pretty quickly. But that's why we're doing spoilers, because there's always a high chance we're going to be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those, like, you'll never, you can make as many like predictions as you want, but something with like Magic, you just never know what's gonna, like, nobody could have predicted that Oko was gonna take over that much.
Yeah, like that's a great point, because I was thinking the other day, like, they're talking about banning Oko in Modern now, and it's just like, in your head, you're like, if Oko is that good in every single format, like, how did they print the card, basically? But then at the same time, like, it took really, like, I mean, everyone knew Oko is good, but because Field of the Dead was kind of distracting people, it took really until, like, Field of the Dead got banned for people to really understand just, like, how insane Oko was. Like, everyone knew it was good, but I think it took, like, 1 or 2 weeks before people to really realize it was just completely broken, which it is.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously the people in game design are humans too, but, like, it's hard to really blame them that hard for printing Oko when it wasn't immediately obvious to everybody that it should be banned. But at the same time, that card is absurd. But, like, Nyx Bloom Ancient seems so obviously good right off the bat that, like, maybe when they've been testing it, they've found out it's not quite as good as we're saying it is. That's what I'm hoping, at least. But I guess we'll find out. But still, so far of all the Theros cards, I think this is the one that, in my opinion, is most likely to get banned.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't know. It just seems like there's so much. See, there's only one way that I can see this go, or there's only 2 ways that I can see this going. It's either going to be just an absolute trash can of a card, or it is going to be just so OP, like, just because of how much mana it costs. Like, it's just.
Well, yeah. The thing is, like, it's like very obviously good, so I expect a ton of people are going to be playing it. So we'll find out quickly, I guess. But, like, if everyone's playing it, that means there's stuff where other people are probably missing that could be answers. I'm hoping.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm excited. It'll be refresh. It'll be a nice little, same thing about Magic. Like, it never gets stale. Like, it really doesn't. Even when it does get stale, they do a great job of keeping it fresh. And so I will let you go over the last one that we have, which is an equipment, as you were alluding to earlier, and it is Shadow Spear, to be exact.
Yes. So Shadow Spear, 1 mana cost. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink. And for 1 mana, permanents your opponent's control is hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Equip 2. So a couple things with this card will be. I've seen some people say it's one of the best equipments printed in the last, like, 10 years or so. For Standard, I'm not sure. I think this is a great card, though, for Historic and Pioneer especially, don't get me wrong. But for Standard, we'll see how good it is. I mean, it's 2 mana to equip, and then +1/+1 with trample and lifelink. That's not, like, stunningly good. It is pretty good, though. I think the additional ability to remove hexproof and indestructible is going to be more relevant than we think, though, than people are talking about right now. First of all, it says permanents your opponent control lose hexproof. So that means that, and they are reprinting Field of Ruin, by the way, which is the land that will destroy another land. So with this card, you can actually get rid of a Lotus Field, which is, I think, the only way to really do that now. If that Lotus Field Nyx Bloom Ancient combo becomes as ridiculous as I kind of expect it to. So I think that's a relevant ability. And then obviously all of the God cards have Indestructible. And those may or may not see a lot of play. But there is obviously answers to Indestructible, but this is a very unique and awesome answer to Indestructible. Where I'm actually most excited to play this is in Historic, though, where for the longest time I've been trying to get the Famished Paladin combo going, which is a 1-turn kill, basically. But the tricky part with that combo is you need to give it lifelink, and up until now there hasn't really been any great cards to do. Like, there's been cards that give it lifelink, but all those cards suck on their own. So now with Theros, we have a ton of ways to do that actually, but Shadow Spear seems like a really cool way because if you, Famished Paladin is 3/3 for 2 mana, but it only untaps when you gain life. So basically, this equipping it to Famished Paladin will make that card a 4/4 with Trample, Vigilance, and Lifelink, which is pretty insane. And then if you get down the wand, it's a 1-turn kill. So I'm looking forward to that. Kind of janky, but I've been looking forward to make that deck work for the longest time. And I think some of these cards in Theros are. There's another one that's an enchantment aura that gives your card +1/+1 lifelink, and whenever it deals combat damage to opponent, you draw a card. So you combine all those, and that's a pretty sweet setup you got going on right there. And then with the 1-turn kill possibility just to boot, I'm really excited for that deck. But that's all. That's kind of the exciting spoilers for today. We're going to be doing a lot more. Obviously, I'm going to be putting out a ton of articles on Aetherhub, so check those out. I'm going to Cali this week, but I got 2 6-hour plane rides to be cranking articles out in, which I will be doing for sure. But yeah, so we'll cover those. Any exciting plans this weekend, Willy B?
My exciting, riveting plans are actually, I do have a very exciting plan. So, a couple years back, I was working. It was my first summer at camp, and I had the amazing opportunity to work with special needs day camp. And I'm actually going to go see my old special needs day camper. We're going to go to a trampoline park.
Nice.
We're going to go hang out and do that. But other than that,
up, baby.
Yeah, other than that, I just got to get ready back on the grind, finishing up my last semester of college this next spring. So.
Oh yeah, when is that next week that starts up?
Yeah, I start back up next Monday, so I'll be a lot more free to get back on the podcast grind. I've been grinding away doing a bunch of odd jobs during this Christmas.
Yeah, gotta make that money.
Break, yeah. So we're treating one of our cabins here so there's actually, if you heat treat it, it gets away with like a bunch of the stench that happens and just like can kill all this bacteria. So we've actually done that to keep our cabins cleaner. And we had our cabins.
That sounds like fun.
We had our cabins. They were at 140 degrees.
Oh baby, how do you do that? Do you just like
put
a sealant on it or something? Or?
Well, yeah. So there's like this. There's this little tunnel thingy that like this little. I don't know what you would call it, but it can. So
a tunnel. That's a technical word.
Well, yeah. It shoots out 300-degree heat, and so it goes through these tubes, and then so as it leaves the tubes, that's when it starts to lose its heat while it's in this process of being in the tubes. So then it'll come out into the room at about like 180, 200 degrees. Gotcha. In order to heat up the room. And then, I mean, it kills off all types of odors. I mean, it can kill any bugs as well, too, obviously. So it's actually like a great and super handy thing. So it's just to refresh our.
So they got you working that, though? Slaving away.
I've been working that. I've been helping. So we actually had to take apart all the beds so then it could get into every single crevice. I'm helping put up a new post, and we're getting a new swing set, like a relaxing swing set, like one of those rocking chair swing set type of
nice
ordeals.
Do you guys have electricity in your cabins?
Yeah. So we have electricity. So it's like our cabins. I mean, so we do have during the summer there are some places where kids will stay, but it's more of our adventure groups where so one of them they'll stay in like this tent type thing where it's just cots. They just sleep on cots, and then there's another one where they sleep in hammocks, and that's for like our survivor camp, which is like we play like the Survivor TV show basically, and they get squlit up into two teams.
I would love to do that.
It's honestly a fantastic time.
Can I be a camper, or am I too old?
I think I can squeeze you in. You can dominate them in Mongolian Battle Ball. That's the best.
Dude, Mongolian, what a game!
Oh, fantastic!
I have no idea how you play that, but I've probably played it before though. I played every summer camp game in the book. Forgot them all. Yeah,
so like Mongolian Battle Ball.
Mosquito?
No, we haven't played Mosquito. So Mongolian Battle Ball though is because we have a lake and the shallow end, so it's the equivalent of like Ultimate Frisbee. You're not allowed to run without the ball,
gotcha.
And so yeah, you're in the lake, so you sprint, and then rather than trying to get it in the goal, what you have to do is there's 3 rings hooked up. that you have like stacked together as a goal, and you have to knock all of the rings down with the ball, and then they're allowed one goalie, but everybody has to be ankle deep water, and like it can get physical at times too. So if you play,
did you ever do the greased up watermelon? In the
oh
shower?
yes, no,
yeah. Oh, that's one of the most
watermelon.
bloody physical games you'll ever play.
Yeah,
that thing's intense.
Normally for that, we'll only have counselors do it against each other as like a final battle, because obviously liability reasons, we don't want kids.
We had kids doing that back in my camp, but my camp was the Wild West though, honestly. Like,
yeah,
Mosquito was the best game of all time though. Mosquito was like, it's kind of like a manhunt in a way, but it's kind of hard to describe. But it was counselors versus campers, and people were not fucking around in Mosquito, let me tell you. I was a camper. I was like 12 years old. I broke an ankle, and I was so dedicated to the game. It was like playing in the Game 7 of the NBA Final. That I just kept going on the broken ankle. Wouldn't let it slow me down. Still to this day, one of the grittiest things I've ever done.
That's honestly super impressive.
Me and my boy Henry Dearborn, we ended up being the camper duo that won. So that's a life lesson to everyone out there. Got to preserve. Don't let a broken ankle slow you down from getting an extra ice cream sundae dessert.
Yeah.
Camp. That's the lesson you're going to learn from this podcast. Well, before we bore anyone else to death with the old summer camp days, we'll sign off. But thank you guys so much for checking out the podcast. We'll be back next week. Check out my articles on Aetherhub this week. Until then, we'll see you later.